Welcome back to Different Walks Serious Talks. You're back here with Markeisha, Autumn, Farah, and I, Jessica. And today we're going to be talking about our spouse's parents. How much say should your spouse's parents have in your relationship?
I guess if I could start, um, I have noticed in the different people that I date that mothers who have both boys and girls tend to be more understanding and empathetic towards me versus mothers that just have only boys or only girls. So, because I've had girlfriends and I've had boyfriends, and the most understanding mothers that I've ever known were mostly, again, had both, but there was one in particular who had two boys, and I wasn't even dating her son. However, she always wanted a girl, and it was my prom date or something like in 10th or 11th grade. And funny enough, the boy who took me was actually my friend's brother. We were just friends. And when his mother found out, she treated me like a royal princess. When I say she took me shopping, she wanted to get a manicure pedicure. She really wanted to experience having a daughter, and she treated me like a real princess. And it made me know that this is how a mother-in-law is supposed to be. Like even if me and her son weren't dating, I knew that whoever her son ended up with would have a wonderful mother-in-law.
Aw.
So thanks, thanks for taking me to prom. That was a really good experience, and I still remember your mother to this day. But like as I said, I have had experiences from all boy mothers as well. I'll tell you all about that experience as the episode gets more into it because I have to collect my thoughts to make sure I don't say anything too damaging.
Ooh. It do be like that sometimes.
I do think that like it can be rough. I've had good and bad experiences with spouses' mothers and spouses' fathers too. So I've had both uh the spouse who his mom loved me. When I tell you she loved me, but she was very strict. She was like, you don't call my house after 10 o'clock. I have a young daughter. You don't call my house after 10 o'clock. You're welcome to come and sit in the living room. You're not going to anybody's room, that sort of thing. Um and so she loved me. I also had somebody who he was promiscuous, and she was cool with any girl coming up in there. She was like, not my business. She wouldn't talk to most of the girls, but she would talk to me. I guess that was the difference because I was the main chick. And so, but she didn't correct her son. She was like, yeah, that's his business. They ain't got nothing to do to me. I've I've also had where my parents were the problem. And as much as I love my mom to death, I've had
Love
her be
to,
the problem. She especially when I was young, I was young and in love, and she hated the guy I was dating. When I tell you, she didn't like him. She let him know it. My mom loves everybody, but she also let him know, yeah, you can come over my house, get food anytime, but
you're not good
you
enough.
shouldn't be dating my daughter. You're not
Why
good
she didn't
enough.
like you? Why she didn't like him?
I hadn't really dated much of anybody before. And so, like, my entire family, like, Farrah didn't really like him at one point. Francis definitely didn't like him. And Francis made it
I think who you
100%
talking
known.
about?
So the little bit, I'll tell you later because I'm not gonna put the name on the
Okay, did he
podcast.
turn out to be a good person afterwards, or do you know his
Um,
his
he is
path in
in
life,
general
or
a good person. We didn't work out, but and
he
we were
didn't?
young and everything. He's in general a good person, right? We didn't work out because he wanted to go and sow his wild oats, and rather than him like cheating on me, he was like, "I think we shouldn't be together anymore." And I respect
Your
that.
family pretty much like hell no. So
Well, I respect that more than him going and, like, just cheating on me or anything, but he some of the issues that we had in our relationship stemmed from the fact that he was like, "Your family doesn't like me. We couldn't get married. we couldn't get married. So like we would have problems. We would, it wouldn't be a cohesive relationship. And he was very much like bothered by the fact that my family didn't like him. And it wasn't, like I said, it wasn't that he was a terrible person or anything like that.
Farrah, what happened?
She don't remember who
Listen,
I'm
I can
talking
think
about.
of plenty of people I treated bad on her behalf. So,
She said, "I don't like
Y'all
none of them."
toxic. Oh my God.
hey, it's not like I treated all of them bad. I am just a very upfront person, and I do believe that if you're going to come into our family, I have the right to know whatever I want to ask. That's part of being a family. We get to know the good, the bad, the dirty. Maybe they couldn't take the upfront personality, but if you're going to be in our family, you've got to take the bluntness. You got to take the good and the bad. So
But
it's
what
not that I
did he
take all of them
do
away. And if they have a
just
backbone,
for
they'll stick
y'all?
around.
What did he do to just for y'all to not like him?
I mean, if I didn't like somebody, there has to be a good reason because I generally like most people. So maybe I snuck
Huh.
people in
That's
on
why
them.
I'm asking you.
I
So
can't
when
remember
I
which one she's talking
so
about, but
here's the
I
thing.
can
When
tell
I
you
was
there was a couple
younger,
of dogs that I knew were
so
dogs from the get,
so
and then there were
when
a
I was
couple that I knew were
younger,
just
it,
after the
it was a
money because
little
she's a good
different.
woman, want
So
all the good food. Like,
nah. So when I was younger, it was different. Now they have to actually do something, and she has to see it. Like she'll be like, "Well, what happened? What were the details?" When I was younger, if I was crying, she'd be like, "They're the devil," and she'd be like, "Nope, they're the devil." So it doesn't matter what they did; they could die. Like
Today.
so.
Die today.
There is,
man, I
so
remember coming
that's
home once and she was crying, and we beat the mess out of some dude. I don't even remember why. I
that was
just know
something
she was crying.
that was
What?
something different. That
How
was that
dare I
was a
walk
guy
in my
who
house?
was that was an older gentleman who was trying to essay me.
See? Anything. That's why everybody who makes her cry deserves to be beat. You never know. Take care of all of them.
That was different. That was not associated with this. But that she didn't like him because I was very sensitive around that time. I like we've talked about on the podcast before. I've had verbal abuse from adults before, and so I was very sensitive to things he would say. So the way that he said stuff would make me cry sometimes, but he would be like, "Oh, that actually looks really nice on you." And I, in my mind as a teenager, I was like, actually looks good. That does that mean that I look terrible all the other times? So it as an
You're
adult,
not, but hold on now. As a full grown adult woman right now, I don't like that actually either. Like that don't
correct.
fly. What you mean
But
actually? What
but
you mean
as an
actually?
adult, I'd be like,
You mean
okay,
as a joy?
I don't like the way that you say that, right? I would tell
Yeah,
somebody verbally, hey, I don't like the way that you say that. I feel like that qualifies your statement, and I'd be very
certainly
clear about
does.
that.
Yeah, because
But
that's kind
as
of
a
shady.
teenager, I was like, "Oh, well, thank you." And then I just go cry on myself, like I'd cry by myself, like at home, like so I
Yeah,
wouldn't bring it up. I wouldn't clear up the air. And he was somebody who like was open to stuff. So when I did say something, he was like, "Oh, I didn't realize I was doing that." And have I been making you feel that way all this time? Because I waited a long time to say something. I was like, "Yes." He was like, I feel terrible. But at that point, a bunch of people already hated him. So unfortunately,
at
that
the
was
end of the
partially
day,
my fault.
Like I said,
at
I
the end
like
of the day,
almost everybody. So if I don't like somebody, it's normally an actual reason. So they probably weren't good enough. End of story.
I was just getting ready to say that. At the end of the day, none of them are good enough for you. That's all. That's it.
It's not our fault.
You,
We maybe you're
you
right.
guys
Trust.
are so
It's not
It
our
biased.
depends on
fault.
you.
You
You're right.
can't raise. You guys won't rise to the occasion of being with her. She is amazing, and if you're not amazing, then we're not gonna like you.
You need somebody that makes you
You
your
argue with
best
your
self.
mama. Yes.
Not want to.
I do agree that people should be with somebody who makes them their best self.
Yes.
So, what about you, Keisha? You've had two sets of marriage in laws, and of course of other relationships. What do you think about spousal in laws? Do they, you marry the person and you marry their family?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I do believe that you marry the person and you marry their family, and you have to make sure that you guys are kind of all on one accord and you all have the same vibe. Otherwise, it's just going to be chaos and mayhem every single time y'all got to get together. And I'm not the kind of person where I'd be like, well, you have to choose, your mama or me. If you have to be put in that position, then you're not even the person for me. I shouldn't even have to say those words. So I think it's great that Farah brought up like what kind of moms might be a little more understanding, because it wasn't until you said that, Farah, that I did recognize that same pattern play out in my own life. My prom date had a son and a daughter, and she also gave me the princess treatment. She was like, you're going out with my son, everything has to be top notch, blah, blah, blah. She made sure I was well taken care of, and I did come out looking extra gorgeous that night. So,
You
thank you,
did,
Mrs. Brown, wherever you are. Thank you.
as you generally do on the daily.
Yeah, but no, you.
Like I said, my prom date did have two boys. She didn't have a girl, and she really wanted a girl. But where
Yeah.
my bad experience came in was my ex-husband, who, after having to deal with her, I'm still scared to get close to my current mother-in-law, because
Yeah, a little trauma
sometimes
response.
mothers can love you a little too much. So
Yeah.
she had two boys, and when she finally got a daughter, she was making sure I couldn't go anywhere. So
Yeah, it's
that
not
was
love.
definitely a different type of
That's just
experience.
toxicity.
She was actually the one, if anybody remembers in a previous, we talked about bad advice. She wanted me to take her son beating on me, and that's part of love, and that's not okay. So,
You need psychotropic medication.
uh,
That's
and
what
it's
that
funny because
is.
she's been divorced herself a couple of times,
But you're not
um,
allowed to get
but
divorced.
but no, no. Once I'm part of the family, it's like blood in, blood out. You, you
It's a
got
family,
that.
not a gang affiliation. Oh my God. I'm so
Yeah,
glad you're
that's
not in
how.
that anymore.
You
Now
know,
you
she
done
would make me
traumatized
feel
Autumn.
some
Autumn's
kind of way
traumatized now.
because, well, it's not like I didn't love her back. I'm a loving person. I would see when she would get sick, it would hurt me. I I'm not big on animals. I love animals. Don't get me wrong, but they love me a little too much. Jessica has seen how animals just attack me for no reason. I have some kind of smell that attracts animals, and I stayed in her living room for a good time after her son went to jail, and I had three dogs and two cats sleeping on me. So you take a lot, and you don't even know what you're taking. But it
I
was
love
to help her
dogs.
with
I love
her
cats.
bills as
They
much
cannot
as
sleep
it
in
was.
bed.
Yeah, it was to help her as much as they try to make it seem like I was the only one getting help, but I was able to get out of the situation and help build myself up. And I can't really tell if she actually wanted me to succeed or not. See, that's the thing with love; you can't really pull apart what makes sense and what doesn't. And I left her son, ridiculously so. Obviously, I married him and he went to jail. Her treatment, I will never be able to fully understand. And it has made me, like I said, pretty get close to another mother-in-law. After I did finally decide to leave him, I got a lot of threats. It's definitely an experience. And even with her son, she loved her son, but she made him the man of the house a bit too early. She was one of those moms who,
Yeah.
because there wasn't a man per se in her life, that she made him the man. And I'm not going to go into great detail over the things he had to do being the man at such a young age, but it of course gave him some kind of complex as well. And that's never good for a relationship if a mom makes a boy feel like a man too early and he doesn't know what being a man is about.
Hmm.
I think
Well,
it's
that
what
that
helps
kind of
reinforce his violent behavior.
that kind of goes into the other question. So, would you date a mama's boy now, knowing all the things that you know now? Would you date a
Well,
mama's
yeah,
boy?
because my man is still a mama's boy, but he's a different type of mama's boy. I love no, that's different. See, it's funny because I'm scared to communicate with her and love her the way I did my old mother-in-law, but I still do love her. If something happens to her, I don't know what I would do. Like that's just yeah, I can't even think of it. It's like thinking about something happening to mommy, but it's in a different way because I'm still I still don't know how to communicate with her the way I know I should, the way I used to be able to, because I'm just a people person. But because of that one experience, it's just more difficult. Just I don't know how to explain it. Like even though she had two sons, you might never know it. You might never hear about the older son. To my understanding, I'm pretty sure he loved her and she loved him. It was just a love-hate relationship. I couldn't fully grasp the situation, and it was a long time ago, so I can't fully speak to it. But you barely ever heard her older son's name, and even the treatment that him and his brother gave each other should have been a red flag that I should have married into the family. But young and in love, that's just what's that
Can't
song?
ignore those red flags, man. Can't ignore those red flags.
A lot of
So
people do.
what about
So
you, Autumn? Would you date a mama's boy?
Hell no.
Quick to the point.
Sometimes it be too late. Sometimes it be too late when you're in a relationship. You really don't know what you're getting yourself into until you're already in it. You're like, God damn. Or you already married.
Yeah. Yeah, it's rough.
You really don't see the dynamics of stuff until you in the thick of it. And it's kind of hard to backpedal. I don't like toxic people. And I believe there's some toxic families out there. And sometimes you happen to intermingle into them toxic families. And it's not nice. And my experiences with the in-laws, mm-mm, no, I don't like it. Moving forward, I prefer. I mean, don't get me wrong. If you're close with your moms and your pops, that's a beautiful thing.
Mhm.
That's a nice thing. But if they are overly influenced over you, they feel that they can bleed off into your relationships. And I don't like a man that's not capable of being a man, to I'm not saying put your mama in her place, but keep your mama out of your relationship. And it's a lot of I think there's a lot of men that can't do that because they feel they're obligated to mama. Whatever mama says goes. Um, it's the relationships I've had. Some of the issues is partly due to a toxic in-law, a
Mm.
toxic person. Um, and I believe that's one of the reasons where relationships fall apart because the wife can't be a wife because she's competing with the mama. Why
Mm.
is the wife competing with the mama for the affection of the son
Yeah.
of her husband? Why? Ma'am, I am married to your son. Why your input is more important than mine as the wife? So, and it causes a whole lot of rift in relationships. It's only can be one cook in the kitchen. If too many cooks in the kitchen, I'm out. This is what you want? Go ahead. And I get to the
Marry your
point.
mama then. Just go ahead and marry your mom.
Exactly.
I'll leave. I'll get out of the
Exactly.
way. Let me not come
Exactly.
between you guys and your happy relationship.
And that is my sentiment. That's my sentiment. A lot of mothers have this emotional incestuous situation with their sons. It's disgusting. You know, well, my son is this and my son is that and look what my son can do and so on and so forth. And I'm like, or, how can I say it? They be in there, either they're mad that they are not receiving the same attention that their sons is giving their wives, or they jealous and they feel like they have to insert themselves into the relationship. And it's nasty. I don't like it. I dislike it. So would I deal moving forward somebody that's a mama's boy? Nope. Mama, keep him. Keep
I
him.
have to say that even though my man is a mama's boy, I actually like when his mom gives me some of her different advices. Like, it's not like we don't ever disagree, but for some reason with her, I do feel like she's on my side sometimes. Like, she does tell her son when he's wrong, and she'll
Right.
actually tell him, "Hey, you did this." Not all the time, because at the end of the day, that's her child, just like I'm my mama's child, and they're gonna take our side once in a while, and just like I be taking, my baby side over her father already sometimes. She still, she'll correct him. A mother
And
that
I
knows
think
right from wrong and
And
that
that's
can actually
good.
still tell her son when
That's
he's
that's
wrong.
balance, and that is good.
I think
That's
that's
good.
pretty good in a mother-in-law,
Yeah.
and
and I
maybe that's
think
why I value her
that's
opinion more.
absolutely. Well, that's the thing. If you can talk to someone and they still maintain at least a level of impartiality and being respectful, of course you're going to respect them more as opposed to someone that's completely biased. And you'd be like, I can't listen to you. All you do is
Yep.
care about what he has to say.
Yep.
That's just not how relationships work. But I think that's a very clear distinction. When we talk about a mama's boy, we're not saying that somebody that loves their mother. Please love your mamas, especially if your
Please.
mama is still here right now. You know what I'm saying? Love
If
them.
your
Mhm.
mother,
They're good,
exactly.
decent people. Love them, cherish them. We want that. But what we don't want is where your mom makes your decisions for you, where you are no longer like having any type of autonomy. You have to run everything by your mama first. That's not
Yep.
cute. That is never
Yeah.
gonna be sexy. Nobody wants that, except for maybe you and your toxic mom. Everybody else outside of that relationship is like, ew, why y'all do that? So there's a very clear distinction. We think loving your mom and having boundaries are a beautiful thing. Where you
Man,
love your mom so much and y'all don't know what boundaries are, and she all in our business,
Yep.
and she coming and
Keyword
telling me
boundary.
stuff
Mm-hmm.
that I never
Keyword
told
That
her.
boundary.
you
That's
should
that.
actually treat
Thank
your
you.
mama good. If you don't treat your mama good, I don't have no business being with you because you don't know how to treat a woman.
Exactly.
'Cause if you can't treat your mama who gave you life good, you can't treat me good.
A
I already
hundred
know that.
percent. I
You
agree.
better answer a call every time she call, unless we in the middle of something that's different. But otherwise, you better answer a call. Show me that you're gonna answer my call.
Yeah, please don't answer that.
Yeah.
But don't answer that. Oh, that's gross.
Don't answer that.
Now
Um,
that's
but
a
yeah,
red flag. Don't answer for
like
your mama
seeing,
instead of that. You
ugh,
tripping?
um, but yeah, seeing somebody who has a healthy relationship with their mom, that is like that's sexy. Like that is
Love it.
it's like
Mwah.
you see how they treat them well, you see how they speak to them, how they respect their mom, how they listen to them, how they especially when they're helpful towards their mother. Like
Mhm.
that is something like you see that they're a gentleman towards their mom. You can tell like especially towards the beginning where you're not sure whether you're talking to the real person or the representative, like that's one real good thing to look for is if they answer the phone for their mom and like uh I've had guys where they talk to their mom on speaker and like the entire time I'm like ooh aw
Like, I'm gonna give him some later. I'm gonna
like
give him
right
some later because he was so nice
right
to his mama.
he's
Look
so
at my
nice to
mama.
his
Oh
mama
no,
like
time to end the
yeah
relationship.
and I've also like the when I've ignored red flags for guys I then see how they speak to their mother,
And
and
you're
I
like,
ignored the red flag
oh,
there too.
you're like,
I was
oh, it
like,
all connects.
"Oh,
It's all
yeah, he's
connected. Ah,
disrespectful to his mom. He doesn't like he says how much he loves her, but his actions and the words that he speaks don't speak to like
that love.
respecting her.
Yeah.
You love
Mhm.
her, but you don't respect her. You don't
Mhm.
you don't feel like you owe them anything. Like yes, you can see that through the way that you speak to them, the way that you do things, even if like you go and mow their lawn, okay, nice. If you're a jerk about it, like
Not great.
yeah,
Well,
that's still
sorry,
not
we're
great.
not gonna stay together.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I've learned to now stop ignoring red flags. It's a great thing.
Yes. Because sometimes we'll
Because
be like, that is that red or is it more of a fuchsia?
yeah,
Is that a wine burgundy? No, just get out.
no, it's
Go.
doesn't matter if it's yellow, orange, red, and anywhere in that spectrum. If it's
Go.
if it's not green, you like need to be looking at it and
Yeah, you
speaking to
make a
it.
note of that. Make a little note of that.
Yeah, make a
Yeah.
note of it. Like if it's anywhere near the actual red though, orange red, yeah, like Got got
Orange still
got
means
got.
danger, you guys. Orange still means
Orange
danger.
is
Don't mess with it. Don't do that. Don't do that. Don't do that.
so, um, how much influence should the mother-in-law have in your relationship?
I
Autumn,
say
we got
no
an instant reaction. None?
because we raise our children and we raise them to be respectable human beings in the world. And you should have confidence in your children to be good stewards in their relationships, good mothers, fathers, husbands, wives, so on and so forth. I say intervene as a mother if your grown child is in some form of danger from the spouse or partner that they're with. But other opinions like how to raise your children, I don't mind a little bit of advice, but don't feel like you got to come in and bogart the whole relationship or the
Yeah.
wife.
Or
You
your
don't know
advice
what
suddenly
you're
becomes
doing.
law.
Yeah. That's not how you feed the baby. That's not how you hold the baby. I'm like, ma'am, this is my
Who,
baby.
who baby this? This my baby.
Ex- exactly.
Let's remember
So
that.
yeah, and they want to be just because they grandma, they word is bond. No, my
Yeah.
child, my children, I birthed them. It is what it is. That's your grandchild. These are my children.
Hmm.
So when it comes to, it's just they should have minimal input into a relationship between a man and a woman, husband and wife. Because if you don't stop it and then it grows and grows and grows and grows to the point it gets out of hand,
Yeah.
and they are the ones that's running the relationship, you know, and the wife or the husband in that relationship feel they have no input whatsoever. And it's very frustrating and off-putting. So that's my take on it. Stay in your lane as mama and mama-in-law.
And ideally, you bring up a good point. If they raise the children right to begin with, they shouldn't have to have a lot of input in their grown adult relationships because I raised you to be kind, caring, respectful. I've modeled for you what a good, healthy communication style looks like. So when you become an adult and you're in a relationship, I shouldn't have too much more to say. I already did the work. So I shouldn't have to say too much more, honestly. That's how it should go. Now, is that how it always goes? No, but that's how it should go. But if you find yourself having to intervene in somebody else's relationship often, it's probably time to take a step back and look in the mirror.
I think generally whenever I think of families coming together, it's more to for like gatherings to have a good time to share what you've
Or
missed
offer
from.
support,
Family reunion,
Yeah,
family
holidays, stuff
that's
like that.
reunion, Sunday
whenever I see
dinner.
family, that's pretty much what it is now because we don't get to see them as much as we would like to. So when we do get to go see them, we want to make sure it's a good time. That way, hopefully we leave a good taste in their mouth. They leave a good taste in my mouth. We keep seeing each other. That's the end goal, to keep wanting to see each other. Especially, I
Well,
want my daughter to know that side of the family because I don't know any of my, I don't know any of my father's family, not even his other children like that. And all I could think is if she bumps into them one day, she won't know what they look like either. And we don't want one of those nasty situations where, that father and daughter out together and they didn't even know it because they didn't even know what each other looked like. The mama held it back. And that's some crazy stuff. I wouldn't want that to happen to my daughter. Hopefully one day my father's children reach out and they're like, hey, I do want to know your daughter. Or even maybe some of them might watch this podcast, some cousins that I can't remember their names because I haven't seen you since I was like 6 years old. My last name is probably by me.
Doors always
I,
open.
Yeah, I'm a family person and I want her to be the same way. I want her to be able to go to her grandmother's house without any kind of bad opinions, especially that came from me. Like that's one of the worst things to me that can happen to a child is when the adults put them in the middle and now the child
mm,
doesn't even know where their loyalty lies. Loyalty is within family, period. It doesn't matter whether you can get along every day or not. Loyalty is with family. If you're family once, you're always family. It doesn't matter whether you broke up. And see, that's just my opinion. I know everybody's different. They're like, oh, no, cut off family too. I can't live that way. It to me it hurts my heart. Even when I get in arguments with my cousins, I feel it. And that's just the way I'm built. And I
I
don't
think it
want her to go
always
through that.
depends on the other
Yeah.
people in the relationship. So relationships are never one-sided, and so there are people even within our family I won't spend my time on. I will ask about them. I will make sure that they're okay, but I can't spend my energy like
I know.
fighting against
I
crazy
get
things,
why
right?
y'all do
People
that.
you
It's
have
just
But
to
I
love
no,
from
no,
a
no.
distance.
So what I'm saying is that
Yep.
like she said, sometimes people need to be loved from a distance, and that's okay. It depends, like, especially when we're talking about, marital relationships or any relationships where kids are involved. It depends on the other people in the relationship because you also don't wanna put your kids in the exact same situation that you're talking about, where they go to somebody's house and they're speaking badly about you, or they're speaking badly about the child in front of them,
Yep.
you know? So
Yep.
you always have to take
no.
Toxic
into account
people.
the other people in the relationships.
Toxic
But
people.
ideally, if everybody is loving and caring and has the best interests of children in their minds, then yes. Like I would love when I have children, even if the father is no longer in the picture, whether he passes, whether we just don't work out, if the other side of the family is amenable to it, they can go swimming with their cousin. We can have outings and things like that because that's still their family, right?
Mhm. And
So
that's what I'm trying to foster with his family. Like
yeah.
regardless of
So you
whether me and him end up being married or if
relationships.
we end up finally I don't know. God knows what's in store, but if for God some godforsaken reason we broke up, pray on that because it'll never happen, knock on wood. Um, if it happened, I would hope that me and his family get along good enough that she will always know them. I don't want that to ever happen, and that's why I want to try and foster. Yeah, I don't want to always put it on just them, you know. I want to also make sure that I'm being an agreeable, amenable
From both
person.
sides.
Yes,
Yes.
Absolutely.
Both
because it has to be
sides.
both ways, and that's what I
Has
was
to be
trying
both
to get to.
ways.
Not that the people are good or bad, because I don't know. You know, I don't know other people's situations, and the more that I start to pay attention and hear y'all talk, I'm like, wow, people live awfully. I'm really sad for them. Like I obviously do. I'm very there's a song if y'all get to listen to it, it's called I'm Not Lucky I'm Loved. I can't remember who it's by, but I know it's a song about God. You're not lucky, you're loved, which makes you blessed, right? And I feel like I must have that life that he's talking about because sometimes when y'all talk about certain situations and I've been in some bad situations, but somehow God ended me up where I am and I thank you, Jesus, because it could have gone the wrong way. So yeah.
And I think coming back to the support, or the spouses and their parents, I think that Keisha touched on it. Is I think that the relationship should be based on support. So supporting each other, supporting like fostering a good relationship. So even sometimes like they may have a little more input on the time that you spend, especially if you have older parents, or if they have older parents. So you may be taking more trips to go help them out with their house, or taking a bit more time to check on them each day, or that may have more input into the lifestyle that you live with your spouse. But I think it really should be based upon the relationship that you foster and the support you can offer each other, whether that be at family reunions or holidays or whatever it might be. You're just having a good relationship and supporting each other as much as possible.
Absolutely. Support,
Yeah.
respect, boundaries.
Oh, and I
Anything like
understand
that
the
is
support
going to
part.
go well. But when it's
What if you're
overstepping, that's the
yes?
one the issue comes.
Overstepping.
Are they
Hmm.
codependent on
Oh,
their children?
oh, that's a good word.
Correct.
Oh, that's a good one.
So so that has to be a
Codependent.
conversation with your spouse, though. I
But it's
feel
too
like
late
that
sometimes. Mm-mm.
that's
You
got to be the
already,
conversation.
but and yes, moving forward, you
Yeah.
don't see these red flags until you in the thick of it. You see what I'm saying? When
Sometimes it
you,
is like that.
yeah, sometimes when you at the base of it, you know, the beginning, mama's nice, you raised a great son. You know, she treats you nicely, right? She's a she's like a great person, you know. Y'all don't have no issues, right? And then the years start to progress. And then start to see things that you did not see at the beginning. And you swat it off like a net. Oh, there's nothing to it. Maybe that's just, that's how
That's the
she
red
acts
flags we were talking about.
The
occasionally,
one off.
you
Yeah.
know. That's
Yeah.
how she acts occasionally. 5 years into the relationship, you see everything and for who they are. It's too late. You got kids, you're married, you know. Now you see the truth of I'm like, what the hell is this? Who
Where'd he
is
come
this?
from? I know this ain't Miss
Exactly.
I
Paula. I know this
This
not
ain't
Miss
the same
Paula.
right.
person. This ain't the same person I met at the beginning.
No.
This
So
ain't the same
I do
person I met at the
feel like
beginning.
regardless of when it is, we like communication for me, like when you realize that the problem is there, that's when you got to communicate with your spouse, because if not, that's going to, like you said, it impacts your relationship so much
Mhm.
when you have a problem with their parents. I used to think one of my ex's moms hated me because she just got the mean face all the time. She would ask about me every time I wasn't there. I had no idea. So I would be like, she hates me. Like she hates me. And I would like tiptoe around anything that she was involved in. So like and that would impact our relationship. But once I mentioned it and we started having more conversations and like that really fostered, like it opened up other things in our relationship. But communication is like really key to any of that, because you start having issues with your own spouse because you like like you said earlier, and I know it sounds bad, and I try not to say it like this, but you want a man to be a man.
Yes.
like and for me, part of being a man is leadership. And you can't have your mother as a crutch for that.
No.
So you can't have, or your father, even your father, even it
They can
like
be a
I
source
do
of
Said,
wisdom,
man, you just
a
said
right?
it.
source of
They
wisdom
can
is
be a source
different.
of
Yeah.
wisdom, but when you
Yes.
start to use them as a crutch and you can't decide without their input, oh yeah, you definitely not making the cut as far as leadership or standing in your manhood. You need to be able to stand on business. What if your mom or your dad don't answer the phone? Now you have no idea what to do? Yeah.
Now we can't
No,
move
that's
forward
That
heavy.
part.
because they
That's
can't
yeah, let's not go
because
there.
they didn't
Let
have
me run it
input, so now
across
we can't
mom
do
and see what she
anything.
says.
Look.
Baby, do you know
And
your
here's the
own
thing.
mind or don't you? Like, what is
And
it?
And here's the thing, because I know people are going to say it. I understand if you're running a financial decision across to your mom, and she lives as a financial advisor, right? That's what she does for work. She has
That's
the
her
degree.
expertise.
That's her
Yes.
expertise. I
Different.
understand that, right? Because
That's different.
people like to make niche arguments. That's not the same thing. We're not talking about somebody who lives as a financial advisor or is a banker, or like she has like an early childhood education degree, so that's why she was trying to give input on the care for a child who's having a problem. These are not the things we're talking about.
Yeah, no, we're
We're
not. No.
talking about somebody who leans on a parent just because they're there, and just because their relationship
It doesn't
supersedes
buy a
in their
house
minds
because the
that.
mama said it's not that time,
Or
and
the
I like
parents
it.
or the parents lean on the kids. You got the parents where they feel like they are owed something.
Mhm.
That's
I
actually how my
sacrificed
ex-husband's
my
mom,
life
they lived
for
here.
you, and hey, you gonna take care of me, you know? And not saying they're not realizing, but they really don't
Sometimes they
care
do.
about the
Sometimes they do it and they
responsibility,
use it as guilt. You owe
the
me because I
responsibilities.
gave my whole life to you.
Yeah, or they'll guilt trip you. I need a car, or I need this. Can you, and how many times you taking away from his primary or her primary family to worry about you. You're a living,
And that's
breathing
when you really got to
human
communicate. Like
being.
Mhm.
you have to communicate with your spouse and be like,
And look,
this
you
is
can
the
do all the
standard for our family.
communication in the world, though. You can do all the communication in the world, but if they are that mama's boy or daddy's girl, a lot of times,
That
and like
you have to stand on business because if so
I know.
either you
She said,
choose
she said, that's what I'm
to
doing right
eventually
now.
like yeah. So either you choose to allow your relationship to deteriorate over time and lose respect for that person because that's what a lot of times happens. I've seen it happen over and over where people lose respect for their spouse because they're
Yep.
like
Yep.
and I hear people say the little digs and
Yep.
they'll be like,
Hmm.
"Oh, can we do this?" And I'll be like, "Oh, go call your mama. You know you're going to call your mama anyway. Go call her and be done."
Did your
Like
mom say it's
I've
okay
seen
for us to
somebody,
do this?
right?
Did mommy give you permission? And that's not good. That's
Or
not good for a
even
relationship.
worse, "Hey, can we do this? I already talked to your mama.
Oh God,
I just
that's
went
so
ahead and called her for
unsexy.
you. I
I
just
called her
called her
for
for
you.
you.
I got
It's so unsexy.
if you
Oh
need, I'll
God.
send her a permission slip."
She already signed it. Look, she said you can come out of town with me this weekend.
She
Come
said
on.
you can
That's
go.
not
Like,
sexy. That's
I'm
not
like,
But
"Fine,
cute.
okay,
So
fine."
unsexy.
We don't
Um,
want that.
Oh God.
but that's the thing, like, you have to have
but you
that
gotta enjoy
communication
the
and you have
role.
to set that boundary. You gotta set that boundary with your spouse
But they don't think they
because
need boundaries. The mamas don't
and that's why
think
you have
That's
they.
toxic.
that's
That's
why you
my
have to a
son.
direct
That's my son.
conversation.
Whatever I said, that's my son. That's
So
ma'am.
you and your spouse have to have that direct conversation with them and not
In a
just one
perfect
person.
world, baby.
And so I think that's the thing that people do incorrectly. And that's just me. This is me who is not married and obviously this might change in the future, right? So to me, I think that me dealing with my family and then you dealing with your family when there are problems, I don't think that should be a thing. If we are a unit, we deal with things as a unit.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So
Yes.
you don't go tell your mother by yourself, "Oh, well, we're having a problem with you doing this
Yes.
to our
Oh
family."
God.
We
Yes.
go and talk to her together so that we could be
That
a
happens.
cohesive
Won't you
unit.
think that you're the one who sent him in the first place? Like,
I don't care.
I
I
was
don't
thinking
care if
that
they
might
think
be
it's
why
just
you
me.
shouldn't do that separately. But I don't know.
Oh, okay, gotcha. The other way around.
I
Yes.
can't even
And
remember. I wouldn't know.
that's what I mean. Like I don't we should
I
deal
can't keep
with
up with
as a
arguments
unit
like
the
that
things that
anyway.
we're going to deal with. Like if we're having an issue as a unit with somebody
And
inputting
securely
into our
agree.
relationship, then we need to make sure that we are responding as a unit.
And that's
Absolutely.
and that's in a perfect world, but like moving forward, a lot of relationships has been disintegrating because of outside influences, and those outside influences are the toxic moms and the toxic dads that feel that their input is needed in a relationship or situation. And sometimes you can't recover from that. And it's sad. It's so sad. Ladies and gentlemen out there in the world, take hold of your relationships. I know y'all love your moms, your dads, your parents,
Hmm.
but when a man and woman come together, it should just be y'all. That is
The
it.
glory of a man is his woman,
Or
just like the glory of a woman is his children.
Thank
If you
God.
don't have that glory, yes, you're supposed to worship God together. That's a very important thing for a relationship. But that's another episode. Anyways,
So then another question in this scenario, do you think that there is a difference when a man has his father present in the relationship growing up? Like so when they're growing up, they have a good father figure to model somebody who is communicative and loving and helpful.
I don't think
absolutely.
it
That's a
necessarily
very
has to do with just
important.
the father though, because
It it
I've
does.
had a
It
single woman
does.
who raised a wonderful man. And again, I don't know if that's because she had boys and girls, but he's one of the most respectful men I'll ever know.
No,
And
we're
he
not
treats
saying it's a
me
disqualifier.
ridiculously good, but
No, we're not saying it's a
I don't know
qualifying
if I
thing,
can't
like you
It
can
tell him.
only
impacts.
raise a good man if there's a man in the house. That's not I don't agree with that at all, no. But
It's an
I
impact.
think the question
He's our
is there
top.
an impact there? And
Hmm.
I think
And
fathers are
I think
very
having him
important.
he could potentially be a good thing if the man who's raising him is a good man. That's
Oh
the
yeah,
Well,
difference.
absolutely.
that was what I said though. So a father who is not just present physically, but present in an
Mentally.
emotional way. So he has to be
Yeah.
mentally present. He has to
Yeah.
be physically present. He needs to be able to help to regulate those things.
Yes, emotionally. Yes. And have emotional intelligence and then model that for your
Yes. Thank
children.
you, teacher. Oh, I love you. Thank you for putting that out
100%. Girl, I
there.
love you too. I love you too, babe. This is what we
Yes.
do every
Yes.
time we get together.
Emotional
Yeah.
intelligence. Exactly.
Yeah.
'Cause
Absolutely.
a lot of men, I think today don't have that. They are not emotionally intelligent. They only want to be logical, and there's more to relationships than just being logical. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah. I mean,
No,
there's a lot of people that might think in black and white, but yes, our life is
Yeah,
full of so many shades of gray. And
yeah.
while you might have a very good logical point, that ain't got nothing to do with nothing we talk about right now because I need you to meet me where I am. I'm upset. I'm hurt. You can't come at me with statistics when my heart is breaking.
Mhm.
What am I supposed to do with that? Thank you so much for those numbers. I will use them to dry my tears. No, like, so yeah, it absolutely makes a lot of sense what you're saying. There's a lot more to life than logic and reason, and when you're born, you don't come in with logic. You're just
Nope.
here. You're
Yep.
absorbing the world and you're
Yep.
learning, and it looks different to everyone. So you can't just come in and say, I'm a logical being. This is who I am. Everybody deal with it. Guess what? Some of us just gonna leave. We don't want to deal with it. We want you to be able to put logic aside just for a little bit. Just hug me, hold me, tell me it's gonna be all right.
And do the
Isn't
same
that
for
what
your
you
children as
And do
well.
the same for your children. I was just going to say, isn't that what your parents did for you when
Children.
you were little and you had a boo boo? Didn't they just comfort you? It wasn't a time for logic and reason. It's time for me to just go ahead and see the human in you and speak to that and say, hey, this is what you might need right now. Let me give you that. And you should be able to do that to your children, to your spouse, to your parents, to anyone that you are in relationship or community with. Otherwise, it's all going to crumble. So yeah, there's a time and place for everything. And it's up to us as logical, emotionally developed people to have that discernment and say, this is where I need to apply this.
and it's just the
And
same
men
for
who
girls as
are able
well.
to Sorry. Men who are able to display emotional intelligence are able to help us grow with our emotional intelligence. Because I do feel like that when men truly apply emotional intelligence and are able to meet us where we are, then we are then able to recognize the things that maybe we are being too emotional about. Maybe that we're being less understanding about things that he needs emotionally. And so when we can get our needs met, we're better equipped to handle the needs of the men that are in our lives as well. So I think it sort of
100%.
it balances, it goes both ways because
It's
there
like
are tons of women
synergy.
have it is synergy. There's
Yes.
tons of
Yes.
women that
Yeah,
have zero emotional intelligence, right? So men can speak to that all day long. That women has they know tons of women
Emotional.
with zero emotional intelligence, or they're just overly emotional. And I feel like there is really a balance when you can't understand and recognize and acknowledge the emotions that are coming out of a woman, then of course you're gonna
And
feel
not
like
just
she's
a
just
woman or a man, we're
going over the
all
top.
human beings. It's a
hmm
Definitely.
human being thing, not gender, man or woman. We are all human beings. This stigma where men has to be stoic and emotionless,
It
that
kind of
needs to
wants to
go
eliminate.
away
yeah,
forever.
Yeah.
yeah.
Forever. We are all human beings. We're born into this world with feelings and all the brain cells and we're just and please stop, men,
And see, that's why I was
open up
saying it
to
matters for
women.
women as well whether the father was in the house, because not
Open
having a
up.
father
Yes.
definitely had an impact on whether I think a man should cry or not. Like I said, I recently started to understand that men cry as well. Growing up, I never saw my father cry. He was always, I'm pretty sure he was a jerk for the majority of the time I did get to see him. I didn't realize
Yeah.
how much of he was till I got older. But the men that were in my life, either they were like perfect like too perfect because, if I never saw them argue with their wives, how could I learn how to argue with my own man? Or maybe they were, the playful type that hit each other all the time and had jokes and talked mean to each other. So I never really learned how to treat a man the way I should. I had this romanticized, oh, I'm supposed to cook and clean and iron his shirts and be submissive and do this, and then realize I don't know what submissiveness is.
And that's the
And
thing. It's
yeah, I
different
had to learn
depending
the
on who
hard
you
way.
talk to. But one person might consider submissive, another person might
Another
think,
one's
"Oh,
like,
that's
what
just
is this?
oppression." You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Or the way that you submit to me is by doing X, Y, and Z, but it depends on your relationship. And who has the most say in your relationship between you two? It should be you two, not your
Yeah.
mother-in-law, not your
Yep.
father-in-law.
No, we learned this
Yep.
over the years, and that's why, I don't know if y'all remember the episode. I said, well, sometimes we're disrespectful to each other. Sometimes I don't know how to act towards him. I didn't have a role model to show me. And so sometimes he has to be the one to teach me. So, sometimes we have to go through that hurdle and have to be like, babe, I have no idea what I'm doing. Like, seriously, I got this from the Huxtables. I might have got this from Full House.
And
Like,
so you
these are
actually
some
say
things that
that to
I've
him.
learned from either television or watching the
Yes.
few relationships I did see it succeed. Or my grandmother and grandfather, I barely saw them talk. When they talked, it was always pleasant. I can't tell you if they actually had a wonderful relationship or not. From what I understand, it was, amazing. But I can't tell you because I never saw them argue. I never saw them get into those disagreements to get better. I never saw what they went through. All I knew was they were grandma and grandpa and that they were together for forever. They stuck it through. That's all I knew. You know what I mean? And not being able to see my mother with just that one man as I was growing up. She did end up with my stepdad eventually, but between my father and Jessica's father, who at the time weren't the best they could be, I didn't know how to treat a man. I went in probably treating a man as bad as men treat women. So, and I thought it was
Again,
forever.
I
if you have been victimized by
and it takes
parents'
it.
relationships, we have set up a call center that you can call for help. Y'all not gonna get compensated, but we'll listen and we'll be like, "Oh, I'm
Well,
Right.
sorry.
listen.
I don't have
She
anything to
chewed you
We'll
gain.
up and
bring you
spit
on
you
to
out,
another
didn't
episode.
she?"
So,
We're gonna get that number put out at the end of
I
the
think
show.
I think it is important to understand that different people take different things from different circumstances. And
mhm.
so whereas Farah took that from these circumstances, I took the opposite and I ended up like that is what was the catalyst for me being abused in relationships because I thought that abuse is normal. Like I thought that like verbal abuse, that promiscuity, like you just handle it, right? Because of relationships that I saw,
And your family.
growing up
Yeah,
and
the dynamics.
in my family and so the dynamics this and we're in the same environments. We grew up like together the entire time and we saw the exact same things and took out from it different things. So
Different
it's
experiences.
it,
Yeah.
Mm,
exactly. And so
wow.
I would love to have a great mother-in-law who I can reach out to and say, and have good conversations and ask for advice sometimes, somebody who like I can have good conversation and not just hear from them on Christmas, you know? You hear from them at the holidays because they're like, "Oh yeah, what size do your kids wear now?" Like that's when you hear from them when they're asking for sizes and if you need side dishes and that's
What you
it.
cooking for Christmas or
Yeah.
Thanksgiving? Oh,
What you
I'm cooking a
making,
turkey. I'm cooking a
right?
turkey. You ain't
That.
touching my turkey.
So
Uh,
I don't want to have that sort of relationship and I do want to have those conversations with my spouse as soon as I get to the point where I know that it's going to be serious is like, hey, I want to support you and I want you to meet my parents and
But what if you get
be good
into
with
y'all
them.
have these conversations? That's what I'm
Hmm.
saying. In a perfect world, I see where you coming from, and I love it. But you have these conversations that you're speaking of with your significant, your future husband, and the reality is totally different from those conversations.
Well, I'm
What
not
would
saying that it's
you
always
do?
perfect with his mom. I'm sure we have disagreements. I can't really remember them today because, they're yesterday's problem. I'm sure we have disagreements. I'm sure there's days where she's cursing me out in her head, and or she might be praying for me. I don't know, but I know at the end of the day, I try and choose to get along with her. And I hope it's the same for her. Because I want my daughter to be able to talk to both of us. If something happens to me, I want my daughter to be able to say, hey, grandma is a reliable person I could count on. And I can't show her that unless I'm the one modeling it for her. So I just actively made a choice to do it. Again, I do have my hard times because, again, after that last relationship with my ex mother in law, it's a tough road trying to fully be in with my. She's not even my mother in law yet. We're not married, and I don't even know if that's a stigma. I don't even know if that's a problem. We've never talked about it. Probably one of the things I'm probably scared to bring up to her. I mean, I don't know how she feels about that, but I I don't want her to have a bad taste at the end of the month because of something I did. I don't want our relationship to go sour because I was the one who didn't actively do something. I want us to be at least on speaking terms at all times, whether it be because something happened to him and I needed to call her and I could call her, or if I needed to just call her because I was excited something happened to my daughter and I really wanted to share it with her. And I remember at the beginning of me having her, one of the things that I would do every time I took her to the doctors, even if I wasn't sure his mother wanted to hear, because the fact that I was going to share with my own mother, I made it a point to always call his mom as well. And that was an active decision when she was born that I made. If I feel like my mother deserves to know, so does his mom. Because at the end of the day,
Good.
even though she's not my mom, she is my daughter's grandmother. Always. Nothing will ever change that. And I want to give her the same respect and the same treatment that I give my mom because I want my daughter to do the same. I don't want her to ever disrespect her grandmother in any shape, form, or fashion. And it's up to me to model that behavior and to show her that we need to communicate with her grandmother just like my mom. Because I don't want her to be like, yeah, 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 this, yeah, yeah, that, and not even know what her grandmother looks like. That, to me, that's ridiculous. They should have the same standing in her mind. And if as she gets older, she decides to make one of them favorites, that is perfectly her way of life, whatever she chooses to do. But it will not be because of me. I don't
And it
ever
makes
want to put that
sense.
on her.
And that
So
makes sense. And
yeah.
from my standpoint, I think that um what you were saying was if uh, if I feel like it's not going the way that I envisioned in my head, right? That you're saying that if it's not the perfect world, that means that I'm not communicating what I need and I'm not standing on exactly what we're saying, right? So
No, what I'm
I think
saying
I
is
think that the
at the beginning, y'all have these communications, you know, y'all set the boundaries, you did your communication, you did your due
Everybody
diligence,
agrees.
okay?
We're all on the same
But
page. We like it.
in the thick of it,
Uh-huh.
the script flips and things have changed. The red flags are there now. They wasn't there at the beginning during the communication and doing the vetting and doing all that stuff. It wasn't there. You think he's Prince Charming, your significant other. I love him. I love him. He's a great man. His parents is awesome. And y'all get married, and that's when everything falls apart. Like, where was this 2 years ago?
so
Where was
I think
this?
it's important to have these conversations continuously. And so I think the problem that people have is that they have a conversation and they set a boundary. And then 3 years later they're like, "Well, I told you 3 years ago what I wanted and I've been unhappy for the past year." Right? Nah. For
What you gonna
me,
do?
for me in
What you gonna
particular,
do?
that's not
Yes.
going to happen
If
because
you're asking what I would do,
because
I
the
would ask
conversation
his
with
mom
me,
to go to
hold
therapy.
on. The conversation with me is going to be I've been unhappy for the past month, not year, because I don't let that much time come across. Because that's the problem is that if you are unhappy, if something is happening, especially something that crosses the boundary that you have already set, you
But
should
you're
be
not
having that
thinking about it being
communication.
unhappy. You're not thinking
But
about it being
that's
happy and
exactly
unhappy.
what you're
You
what you
thinking
should be
about it as
thinking about.
okay, this is a family. right?
It is a
And we
family.
dealing with the
And
family
so
dynamics of things,
we should
right?
have good the part of dealing with the family dynamics is communication. And the communication between me and my spouse is very, very important. And if that's being impacted because of some outside source, whether that be his family, whether that be my family, whether that be him feeling uncomfortable walking into my parents' house, or me feeling uncomfortable going to his uncle's house, or anybody, right? That needs to be an immediate conversation when it happens. Too many times we are waiting and we are saying, well, it was only one time. No. Right after it happens the first time, I'm going to mention it to my spouse. If it
You gonna pull
continues
them
to happen,
aside, like, look,
I'm
baby, I don't like this.
I didn't really like when this happened, and we had a conversation, but it only happened this one time. I'm just letting you know what's going on, and that it made me feel uncomfortable, because it's important that we have that communication now when I'm still feeling it, not tomorrow when I'm like, well, maybe it wasn't that bad. Maybe I'm just making too much of it.
Here's
Right?
my thing. I feel like both of you have a very good point. There's one thing that I think we're missing out on. But before I even get into that, what you're saying makes a lot of sense. It's important to talk about it in the midst of it. Though you also have to know yourself. If you know you can't talk about it right now because you're going to cuss
Oh
everybody
no.
clean the
Yeah.
out, including his mama, then that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm going
Wait
to
a minute.
revisit this when I can do so,
Yes.
a little nicer. Okay.
Calmly.
And then my thing is this, if something's bothering me and I know I can't talk about it now, so I have to sleep on it. If it bothers me for more than 24 hours or it's 24 hours later and I'm still upset, oh yeah, we're going to talk about it. I'm not going to do the mental gymnastics. Well, maybe I was tripping. Maybe I should just, if I'm still upset the next day and I was too mad to talk about it on the first day, so I waited a day so I could be cool. Yeah, we're going to have that talk. Well, you want to hear it. You know what I'm saying? For sure. So if you can't talk about it in that moment because you know yourself, that's okay. But also don't turn around and then gaslight yourself to say, well, now it's been too late and I got to let it go. And if you
Never too
mad,
late.
if it hurts you, go ahead and express that. You should be in a situation where you feel safe enough to do so. I should be okay being vulnerable and be like, hey, this happened
Yes.
yesterday and it really bothered me. And I think we really just need to talk about it. I didn't like it. I don't like the way it made me feel. If that person doesn't meet you where you are and say, "Babe, that wasn't my intention. I'm sorry," then that's another big red flag that you need to pay attention to. You should feel safe in your relationship to communicate when something's bothering you. And you guys should both be adults and mature enough to do so in a way that's respectful. And if that's not happening, then it's time to take a little break and reflect. And the other thing, okay, so that was the other part I was going to talk about. Because I
Yeah.
feel like this is what you're trying to get to this part, Autumn. I feel like you're trying to say it without saying it. You communicate, you set a boundary, you will understand what the standard is, and it keeps being missed. At what point do you sit there and say, enough is enough? I'm talking to you. We started off great. I told you what I like, what I dislike, and for some reason we keep ending up in this place where I'm not happy and I'm not comfortable. You presented this way, it's been 5 years, and now suddenly everything's changed. At that point, it's like either we're going to make this change together or we're just going to continue to grow apart. Where I'm going to have to stand on the business and be like, "Listen, I tried." And I'm an advocate for divorce. If you guys can't work it out through talking, prayer, mediation, counseling, just go. There's no reason to drag it on and everybody just be miserable. I have a friend, her parents got a divorce closer to her being more like an adult. I think she'd already gone off to college. And then their parents are finally like, yeah, the kids are out of the house. We're going to get divorced. She was like, why didn't y'all do this sooner? Y'all were miserable. And we were miserable watching you guys be miserable. You think you're doing the right thing by toughing it out for the kids. Your kids might feel the exact opposite. They're like, damn, why won't they just break up yet? you know?
Like, Jesus.
Jesus, just put us all out of our misery. So if you guys can't, you can't talk it out, you can't work it out. Don't stay just for the sake of staying. Don't say just because you want to be able to say, we did it, but everybody suffered along the way. I don't think it's worth it. But that's just me. You know, communicate, try, and if that doesn't work, sometimes you just gotta say, all right, peace. We did what we could. Lessons
There's
learned. Let's move
It's a
forward.
happy medium. Like, we're not saying like first time it happens, nah, you got to get out of there quick. Like, that's not. we really should be putting time and effort and communication into our marriages, especially marriage. I feel like it should be forever. But that means that before you ever get married, you should be going to counseling. You should be having these communication about what the expectations are and what you're looking for your marriage. I think that I saw a short the other day on Facebook or something, and she was basically saying that, or a gentleman was saying that he was going to get married to his wife, and she said, "What is our 5-year plan?" And he didn't have one. And her basic, I can't remember exactly how she said it, but she basically said something like, "How are you going to lead us if you don't know where we're going?" And
Oh,
so,
I love.
and then she turned over and went to sleep, and he stayed up all night because
He,
he was
he was
trying to
trying to
figure
figure
it
out that
out.
5 year
He
plan.
was
That's what he
like,
was
Yes.
trying to do.
And the
whoa.
next
But
morning, he had the first 3 years down. He's like, okay, babe, listen.
Drafted.
correct. And
Drafted.
I can't remember who it was. So if this that's yours, tag yourself. I apologize. Um, but it's important because that's what gets us to this place. Before we have
Yeah,
meddling
right. Yep.
mother-in-laws, before we have people who are
Where we
inputting
want to
separately
be.
into our relationship, we should be putting in the work to make sure that we are aligned. And if we're not aligned, we shouldn't be ignoring those things and moving
Don't
forward,
ignore it.
because
Or
that's
we
what
shouldn't be
Absolutely.
happens.
together, period. Yeah.
We ignore the red flags. We ignore that we're not aligned because this guy was so cute, and I love the way he smells when he go to sleep.
Or
And
like
oh
Autumn
man,
says,
oh, he
I've
just did
already
this
been in
thing
it for
like,
5 years. I can't just throw all that
or yeah,
away.
I've been in it for all this time. I don't want to waste my time. No, if you're not aligned, you're not aligned. If you start to communicate, even if you've been with this person for 5 years and then you suddenly are like, you know what, I want to make sure we're aligned. Let's start communicating better. And then you start communicating, and you realize that your lives are completely not aligned in the direction that you're trying to go. Trying to force it doesn't make any sense.
Oh,
If you guys
yes.
But that,
both want to
but
try to
most
put it together, it makes
relationships,
sense. But
but
no,
most relationships start out just casual. Nobody's going to a date to get married.
I am.
Probably now. And see, that's why I changed it. Probably now, but most
I knew that was coming. I was like, oh.
yes, you're
been a planner.
dating with
I'm still
intention.
not much of a planner. I mean, it reflects in my life,
There you go.
but
So,
I'm just
but most of
I'm not a
us we come
planner
together
to help
as
deceive the
friends
planner.
and dates, and then everything just we're so ingrained with each other. You moving around in life, we're flowing with each other, right? We're not worried about if we're going to get along 5 years from now. We're not worried about, our retirement, which most relationships between men and women, we're going with the flow. We'll see. Well, let's date and see how far it goes. We'll
I
be
hear
with each
you,
other
but
and see
what I
and see
mean is that
how.
I if you going with the flow, man, flow yourself
I'm
out.
not
That's
saying no, no,
She
fine.
no,
said
Go
no.
flow over
flow
there.
yourself right into the river.
She said
No,
But
flow
what I'm
before
saying,
left.
you
what
get
has
to
been
get to
going on?
marriage, before you get to marriage, you should not be just flowing yourself right up in front of the judge. That's not how you should be doing.
I'm
You
just
got to make
saying,
sure
but
that you
that's
got a
what's been going
plan.
on in a
That's
lot
why
of relationships.
I hear you, but that's why we have so much divorce, because people don't plan to be married. If you don't plan to be married, you plan to be divorced.
Did our parents plan to be
I
married?
plan to be married, and I
Yes.
got a divorce, so I don't know about that
You,
because
Life
I
y'all
was
want to
does
know something
involved
happen.
funny?
before
Sorry,
I
Y'all
married,
want to
though.
go
y'all
ahead.
want to hear something funny?
Hmm.
My mom told me that my dad asked her to marry him
Okay.
recently. Recently.
Aw.
She just said,
Aw.
"Oh, you know how old I am? Are you fucking
Yes, I
kidding me?"
do. Aw.
It's still sweet. Autumn don't want to hear it. She said this man played too much. I'm sorry. You guys, okay, listen, we're on Autumn's side. What Autumn?
Oh, you
Just give
ain't
us
got to
a
be on my,
just.
you ain't got to
We're
be
mad
on
at
my
him.
side.
We're mad at
What I'm
him.
getting
That's
to,
not
but
cute.
that's what I'm getting to. They've been flowing together this long without marriage. I'm here. My brother's here. Okay.
Oh, I thought they were married.
Mhm.
That's why I said, "Oh," because I
I
thought,
like
like,
that.
They're
remarriage and
getting
all that.
remarried. She
Wow,
thought they
that's
were renewing their
crazy. That's
vows.
awesome.
All
You
them
know,
They
things
need
hey,
to
you
if it
play
played
it
works, it
that whole
out
works.
like it
time,
should be.
You
just
I
like it, I
mean,
blowing.
love
I'm
it.
not saying it's
I
never
mean,
gonna happen. I think it is, but if it doesn't, I don't think I'll die.
look,
See?
I'm not
See?
looking for look, please understand anybody who sees this, I'm not looking for a forever boyfriend. That's not what I'm looking for.
I mean,
I'm
it'd
not
be
looking
nice
for
to
a
get
forever
divorced
man or a forever
someday.
boyfriend. A man comes in my
It worked
life,
for
look,
Autumn's
we looking
parents.
towards
It worked for
correct. It
Autumn's
works
mom
for
and dad.
somebody.
What are
There
you
are
trying to
people who it
say?
works for. There are people who it works for. Um
Right.
that is not me. I politely decline. If that's what you're looking for, please avoid me.
I'm not saying it's
Actively
what I
avoid me.
thought that I would be into, but after the first marriage, it's a little bit scary to just dive in. I know it's been over for a
I
long time.
swear. I
After that
swear. There's
first,
something about getting married that changes things. That ink
it
It
dries
does.
does.
on that
It
I
paper
always
does.
thought
and the
that marriage
It
dynamic
was
does.
forever.
switches.
And
It
to tell you
does.
the
I
And
truth,
don't
I
know
that's why
thought
what it
I
that
was
marriage
I
is.
was
was
over.
that's why I was asking Jess. I'm like, y'all, and that's it's a great thing, the communication thing. But what I'm saying, things change, things
They do.
flip, the
They
script
do.
flip. You can communicate to your partner till you blue in the face, and he agree, baby, yep, yeah, yeah. Look, see, and then you
And
get
then the
married, and
technical part.
then you're like, what
What is
just
this?
I
happened?
hear
Didn't
you.
we have this conversation?
That's gotta be a continuous conversation between you and your partner. Like, honestly, people don't communicate enough. And then they're like, "Well, I said it 3 years ago," or "I told you a month ago that I had a problem with your mama, and we done have 4 outings since then." Nope. We got one You got one more time. I will politely tell your mother to her face that we have a problem, and I will be as polite as possible. I will not be rude to anybody's mom, right?
Yeah.
Even if she cussing me out, I'll be like, "Ma'am, respectfully,
I'm not
this
the
is what's
one
going on.
or the
I'm not the
two.
one."
I mean,
Like, let's stop
unless
here.
you get in a situation like I did where she actually gets president.
Okay, so that brings up an interesting thing. We were supposed to talk about mother-in-law horror stories. That definitely qualifies. That definitely qualifies, Farrah. Because oh my god,
So this should have been a red flag because when me and my ex-husband first started dating, I really didn't want to date. I was more in a, hit him and leave him kind of mood. And for
again,
some
we have
reason
a
that
hotline for
didn't
you
keep
guys that
going
have
back
been
to me.
hit and left. If you're
But
still
he was
pining
supposed
over
to be a
Farrah.
good Peter one. And he just didn't want to quit. So he just kept on coming up to my job. And I
Lord.
didn't know that as hard as he was chasing me, he had a girlfriend. And I didn't find out till way later. But I did find out one time we met
Oh,
up.
the
We were at a
audacity!
hotel. And his mama brought one of his girlfriends up to the hotel. You know, me being the person I am, we just got in a fight. And the little girl had to leave. And it was just a big mess. And that should have been a red flag, but still no. His mama
100%.
wanted to talk
Never
to
liked them.
him. His mama wanted to talk to him, and we had to go drop something off at her house. And for some reason, she wanted to know if I would be there. And at first, I wasn't gonna go, but for some reason, he convinced me to go. And another little girlfriend, not even the same one, was with his mama at the front door with a bat. And I remember I had to
With
tear
a
that girl up
bat?
so good with the bat. She attacked me with the bat. I didn't even know. I was in my own little world, listening to my headphones. I heard my name, so I went to go, take this out. And while I'm turning my head, taking the headphone out, I see a bat coming at my head. And so that ended up in a fight. And then, as I'm fighting the girl, I remember hearing, "Please don't fight my mama." And I look up, and this lady is barreling at me. Now, mind you, I was winning. But hearing, please don't fight my mama, I actually got up and ran. One of the hardest things I ever did in my life because I never really run away from fights. But
Look at you,
all
you're
of
trying to
that,
contain
I
yourself.
ended up
Because
winning.
I didn't never like this little boy.
Shit.
I never liked this little boy. And I didn't even know
He
all
did
this
stuff
until
like that all the
afterwards.
time. But see, after a while, he cut her off.
Look at
Or I
Keisha's
thought,
face. She's
that's the
like,
thing with Mama's voice. I thought they weren't talking. But in the background, he was still doing whatever she had him doing, getting her money the wrong kind of way, and he ended up in jail. Hey, that's some serious type
And
of
Toxic.
then against my wishes, she marries the man.
yeah, the dummy.
Yes, it's a
Farrah,
sitcom. It is a complete sitcom.
she said against my wishes she married the man. Farrah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, right? Like,
Just so you know, you
no.
don't have to consummate a marriage in California once
Oh
you
my
marry.
God. Wow. Okay. All right. Well, I don't know if we're ever gonna have a story that'll top that. I think
I wouldn't even gotten that far. Hell no. Nope.
mother monster in law for sure goes to that lady for sure.
She had a good moment, though. I'll give her that much. I did end up loving her. I still wonder about her to this day. I can't say I don't never wonder about her. I actually do hope for her well-being. I know she was having a lot of health issues, and I wonder if she's gotten them under control. I wonder if her and her son straightened their life out. I can't help but wonder. I loved both of them at one point. Even her wife and her wife's children. They were all ingrained in my life. So they became part of that family that you can never truly fully get rid of for me. Because I'll always have that love for them. When they die, I'll
Yeah.
probably still
I
cry.
don't really
I can't
wish
relate.
bad things on people normally, but
I don't wonder about people when they're
but
gone. They just gone.
whenever I do wonder about people when they're gone. But that lady, whenever you talk about her, I
Mm.
really try not to wish bad things, and I try to pray about it because then anytime that you talk about her, I think I wonder if anybody punched in her face.
Thank you. You know what? Again,
I wonder if
you
anybody
don't
punched in her face.
you
Like,
don't
I
I
hope
have
she
wonder
to.
what
lived. I hope
She's
she's
happened
the
fine.
reason why
I
we
hope
having this
she
topic.
healed.
for her to become the kind of person that she became.
She's the
What
I
reason.
mean,
She's one of
somebody.
the reasons why we having this topic.
You're
Toxic
right,
ass.
but sometimes to be able to heal from what's happened to you, for you to understand, somebody just need
But
to punch you in your
sometimes
face.
some people never know. Like I'm not saying she never knew love because she had to have known some kind of love because she loved her son. Just maybe she never found
No,
the right type
no,
of love for
no.
God.
I combat that idea. If you have your child doing illegal things on your
That's not
behalf so
love.
that you can get money, that's
That's
not
That's
not
love.
love.
that's
That's
not love. It was
dependency.
blind,
And
and it
That
here's
is
the
wasn't
not
even for
thing.
her.
dependency.
Y'all
Here's
never
the
That is
know.
thing.
dependency.
There could be a reason for them to do whatever it is that they did, okay? That doesn't make it justifiable. I could understand to an extent why you did X, Y, and Z, but it still doesn't make it okay. You never knew love. That's a shame. Go to therapy. Start
Okay.
praying.
I mean,
Don't
therapy is just a
traumatize
thing
everybody else
though.
around you.
Yep.
Back then, it was tab.
That's sad. It's unfortunate. Do better. Do
Do
better.
better.
At some
Do
point,
better.
you got to choose better.
Hashtag do
You
better.
all I could do
Hashtag
is
do
hope
better.
that they have something better and they're living their best life. I hope.
And that's
Well,
very
I
good
hope
of you.
everybody's living
But
their best life, but I hope she lived her best life after getting punched in the face. So,
that's
um,
fair.
I hope she didn't have
That's
End it
something
valid.
right
wrong
there.
with her.
Just end it right there. Just stop. Yeah.
Well
At
said.
the end of the
Well said,
day,
Jess.
your
there are very few
monster
people
laws
I hope to get punched in the face, but
Punch in the face.
that lady,
is ended right
Punch in the
there.
face.
so
Monsters in love.
so
Punched
we
in the
talked
face.
about
The things that keep happening. I mean, I believe in karma, so I don't want to hold that type of hate in my heart or even
I
waste the
will.
time.
Again, I'm opening up a grudgery. I will do all the hating for you for a very
I
small
try not
fee,
to hold
for a
grudges.
nominal fee. You could probably just give me a cookie or brownie and I will hate for you. Don't worry about it.
I don't
I
think
got
about it
you.
unless Farrah brings her up. But when Farrah brings her up, I think, oh, that lady that needs to get punched in the face.
Mhm. 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 Mhm.
So
Everything's
Mhm.
doing good
it's
for me.
really
I hope
bad.
their family's gonna
I pray about
prosper.
it.
I hope that,
But
especially as other Black people, I hope that they're figuring their lives out for his children, whatever children he ends up happening, or for the woman he ends up being with.
I
I hope
hope he
he's
has
doing
no
as
more
a person,
children.
especially because we're in our 40s. So
That lady
hopefully he's
run.
doing as a person. And
Mm.
if,
Yeah.
maybe she's being a better person for the woman he ended up with, maybe she's opened up her heart.
Yeah.
And hopefully
Maybe.
she got that therapy she needed and whatever physical help she needed. And she's
Mm.
somewhere being some type of better for someone. That's
Amen to her. Amen to her, Pharaoh.
I
Amen
pray
to
Amen.
for
that.
her.
Amen to
I
that.
Amen.
pray for
Farrah,
her.
you keep
Yeah.
on hoping. And I'm gonna
who
Yeah.
keep on
knows?
A-
hating. If you want my
God
services,
forbid
you can
my
find me
daughter
online.
grows up and ends up in California. That would just be one of the worst case
All right, we're gonna
scenarios.
end it there. So we talked about our spouses' parents and what those relationships look like, and we talked about mama's boys. We talked about whether a man might come out differently having a father in their life, and the input that fathers have sometimes on the relationships that they're able to have with a spouse. We did talk about a monster-in-law horror story, probably the worst one I can think of. In the comments below, if you could share your horror stories. Maybe there is one that is worse. Hopefully not. Hopefully you all have some horror stories that are not quite that bad. And tell us, would you date a mama's boy, and why or why not? Thank you for joining us on another episode of Different Walks Serious Talks. Have a great day.
Bye.